Are we live? Ladies and gentlemen, are we live?
There we go.
Go. Welcome. Tuesday afternoon at 9:10 on perfect timing like Brett and Gio always are. We've got the CanesWear podcast on CanesWear TV with none other than me and most importantly, Gio. And if you've seen Gio's post today, fantastic on X, everywhere. His instant reaction was awesome today. So great news. We are following it up with a CanesWear podcast right now. Remember, we are sponsored by CanesWear, the Spot Miami Fan Shop. We are looking forward to our amazing guests coming back on and giving their questions and comments. We are where we are because of you, and we thank you very much. And I could go on all day mumbling and bumbling, but without any further ado, let's hear it for the number one guy, Gio. How we doing, buddy?
Doing great. It's like Christmas this time of the year. Football is back. Spring football in full motion. Day one. I know there's going to be plenty of overreactions by people. You know, no pads yet, none of that, but still some initial things to take away from the first day. And Miami landed 2 commitments today, a 2-for-1 today. A local defensive lineman in Josh Johnson. He's about 6'5", over 270 pounds. And a very niche but very important position that Miami covered for this upcoming recruiting class. Sherrod Gordine from MacArthur High School right here in the backyard in Broward County, Florida. Specifically for that nickel spot, Miami was very thorough with that evaluation. Actually, 2 of the coaches on staff had mentioned before he had committed, just kind of their thoughts and everything. I got some collective opinion from people that coach within the 7-on-7 scene here in South Florida and just their thoughts on him as well. An overall trending comparison for him, though, is Trent McDuffie, who just signed with the Rams and one of the largest NFL contracts for a cornerback in history. I'm sure that's very exciting and promising for Cane fans. He also was a Will Harris protege. So there's a very good chance Sherrod Gordine could be coached under Will Harris at Miami. So very great stuff in general. I know the people are really here for the spring football stuff. Everyone wants to know about the team. And I think this year is a very exciting time with spring because it's a little different from last year. This time around, Miami has QB1 available for spring. Miami has the large majority of their roster in place outside of maybe 2 or 3 additions in the fall that will be arriving. This is pretty much the makeup, the large makeup of what the nucleus of this team will be for this upcoming season. So, Brett, any questions you have for me from day one?
I'm just excited. I try not to go ahead and get too much into this because let's face it, it's spring practice. It's day one. It is exciting. We, especially coming off the year we had and knowing what we've got going. I mean, there have been plenty of spring practice that have started. It's like, okay, we're excited. Are we going to be the same? I mean, it's been like 20 years where it really hasn't been that relevant. We thought, hey, but we're coming up back-to-back 10-win seasons. Hey, this year we won a lot more. We went to the national championship. I'm just excited. I think by now everybody believes in Mario. Last year we were not at that place that we believed in Mario. Last year we thought we're not an upper echelon team. We discussed about recruiting. We won a playoff game. We won 2 bowl games. I mean, we are as high as a kite right now. We couldn't be any higher unless we won the national championship. And it was a great season. And we're excited. We got the quarterback. Obviously, I want to see how the quarterback is going to do. I want to see how the receivers are going to do. We know Malachi. We want to see the defensive guys. We lost a couple of safety. We want to see the competition there. But I'm just excited to see what everybody else is. Just we want the team to be, looking good, bonding, recruits. There's so much. It's like an empty. Even though we know where we're at, it's like an empty artist board, and we want to paint it in. And that's your job, Gio. You're going to do a great job of that because you've been doing a great job of it all day.
Yeah, so I'll get right into it. I mentioned thoughts earlier. I've had some extra details shared with me from today. Darian Mensah as advertised today from what I saw. Biggest thing to me is ball placement. Ball placement, ball placement, ball placement. Very impressive in that regard. There was one specific pass, I shared this earlier today, that it was on an out route to Malachi Tony, and the way that Darian Mensah had put touch on that pass to where, that's a route that a defensive back can jump and possibly take back for a pick six. But the way that he placed that ball, he put it in a position for only Malachi Tony to make a play on the ball. And just the arc on it, too, to get it over the defensive back's head. So I thought that was really impressive in itself. He connected on a deep ball with Vandrevius Jacobs, the new transfer from South Carolina, during some of the 7-on-7 portion, which, by the way, Vandrevius Jacobs, fast as heck. That guy can really get downfield. And my early hot take, Brett, in terms of Darian Mensah and this group of receivers, and I think the tight end room will be better, just by default, by adding more talent. I think Miami's going to be one of the most dangerous teams in the country in terms of throwing the ball downfield, 20-plus yard passes this season. Darian Mensah was very successful with that last season with Duke, and I think that's going to translate over here. And I think the skill set is in the building to be able to make it happen. I look at guys like Malachi Tony, Vandrevius Jacobs, Josh Moore, who's this the new guy, the freshman now, Vance Spafford, who's one of the fastest guys on the team as well now, Cam Vaughn. I think those guys can really stretch the field, and I think they complement Mensah very, very, very well. And I'm just really excited for what it could be. But that is my early hot take, that just watching some of these guys up close, and I've gotten a great idea for it, too, over the years, because I've seen different groups come in, different players come in and leave, just the conveyor belt of sorts, or the transfer portal now. But I'm really excited and bullish on this group of receivers for Miami. I think the group is going to be better as a collective than they were last year. And I thought last year's group was very good, very solid. Guys like CJ Daniels and Keelan Marion really stepped up along the way. You had other guys chip in some spurts, but I think the room is deeper this year. And Samori Nwingo is a guy that, at least of the freshman group, him, JJ Dunnigan, and Jackson Cantwell, those are three guys I'm eyeing very early to potentially play a lot of snaps this year. I don't know if Wingo will start, but I think Miami's going to have a hard time keeping him off the field.
So if Wingo starts, does Wingo play the same position as Malachi?
No. So Wingo, from what I saw today, very likely as either an X or Z receiver, could play both. I know he played some slot in high school too, but translates more as a receiver out on the outside at the collegiate level. But I think that competition is going to be interesting because, in my opinion, look, obviously no position is ever locked in out the gate, but you'll probably have Malachi Tony and Cooper Barcade as your two guys that will very likely start. I mean, there should be no question about Malachi Tony. He looked great today, by the way. He's put on muscle and still retained his explosiveness.
Awesome.
But I look at like that third receiver position. I think that's going to be quite the battle in terms of like who's going to end up starting, what's the rotation going to look like. I think there's a mix of guys who could really compete for that. Vandrevius Jacobs had a really good first day, but again, a first day is first day. There's a lot that could happen through camp. Cam Vaughn also had a really good day too. My takeaway with Cam Vaughn, which I shared earlier, he was a little more lean than I thought, but longer, like in terms of his stature as a receiver. I wasn't expecting him to be like so tall. That kind of surprised me. And he could accelerate really well for a guy at his size, that he's like 6'3". So I like what I've seen. Joshua Moore will also factor in with that competition as well. Vance Spafford, very likely slot, which will be right behind Malachi Tony, but he can certainly play. I'm sure he'll give Miami some sparks at some points this year. I think he could definitely factor in. But of the entire freshman group of receivers, Samari Nwingo is He's definitely a guy. I think he could play early, just don't know how much because of how deep that room is right now. But just overall, really excited and bullish about that group. And even Mylan Paris, the new 6'6" freshman receiver, he flashed a little bit today too during some
Nice.
one-on-one, some contested catch situations. He's a guy that can also get downfield as well. But I was encouraged by that because some of the things I heard leading into spring football was that maybe he was a little raw in terms of his technique, but the physical traits were there, and you could absolutely see it. He towers over everyone else in the room. And again, Joshua Moore, obviously the most impressive physique of that room, but Mylan Paris he's the tallest guy in the room.
He's 6'6" as a wide receiver. What's he weighing at?
I know it's around the 200 range, but
Okay.
the other thing with him too is just like the way he tests athletically as well. He's like a legitimate 4'4" guy at that size.
So he's going to be very tough going downfield when they throw the ball up to him.
Yeah, I think with some refinement, he could become a real player at Miami.
Absolutely. We can use a guy in the red zone for sure. And anyone going deep, you have that kind of target if he's got hands. I mean, Joshua Moore is what, 6'4"?
Yeah, he's 6'4", 215, 220.
So that is a great – and how big is Samari?
Samari and Wingo's about 6'2", over 190.
He's that big too? Wow. So, okay. So
yeah, I think to me the biggest thing with Wingo is he has a great understanding already of how to use his body and position himself to like box out a defensive back to win on contested catches. He could play through contact, which I've seen this so many times with young receivers. Like they'll even get the slightest contact from a defensive back and they start flailing their arms everywhere. Usually you see younger receivers doing that. I think it's really impressive that he fights through contact. There was one specific rep today that he had against Brody Jennings that really stood out. To me, it was the most impressive catch of the day. So
we've got the 4 running backs coming back, the 4 horsemen. We got the 4 receivers we just mentioned. Then we got Barcade, right? And then we've got so that's 5 receivers. I heard tight ends look good today, correct? We're only going to play with 1 ball this year?
No, I think Miami's got a great situation on their hands. Obviously, you can't make everyone happy, but I think there's plenty of talent at different spots. In terms of the tight ends, Gavin Mueller, really excited about him. We'll see as the competition continues along this spring. The biggest thing that will come into play is how does he hold up when the pads come on, like in terms of like taking hits or just inline blocking in itself. I think Israel Briggs, the other true freshman that came in, I'm not sure he'll play a lot this year, but I see some intriguing things with him in terms of like an athletic standpoint. Very fluid compared to some of the other guys in the room. I would say almost like a pseudo receiver. Like his movement is very impressive. Obviously has to continue to put on more weight. He has put on size since he's arrived. Elijah Lofton made quite a few solid catches today already. I know some people are all over the place in terms of when it comes to Elijah Lofton, but I will say this. I think the biggest thing is how consistent he's been in practice, even since last year. You would hope that it does translate to the field this year. It seemed like early last year, he really couldn't get his footing. He had an injury early on as well. Later in the year, it started seeming like he got a little more involved, but I'm sure fans are hoping that, he takes that to the next step, that he becomes the guy that we have talked about during spring and during fall camp, how good he has been. So he's a guy that I'm going to track very closely. But the running backs group that you mentioned, Mark Fletcher, healthy as ever, still in great shape, looks very lean, strong, fast. I think he's primed for another big year, barring anything unforeseen. I think he will have another good year. Jordan Lyle, healthy, looks a little bit thicker in his upper half as well. Shamar Brown looks like he's leaned out a bit. I had heard that they were trying to get him to become a little more explosive and while still maintain the element of his game of being physical, being able to run over people and create extra yards. Gerard Pringle had a few nice runs during some inside zone drills earlier today. I'm just excited about that group. And the freshman, Javian Mallory, has reshaped his body quite a bit since arriving. Looks very much in great shape. The running back room is really impressive. I think everyone knew that coming in, but just still very excited for that group. And just to cap this off about QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and I'll touch some subjects on offensive line. But Luke Nickel and Darian Coleman, I think, it's day one, but I did get the chance to watch quite a bit of Luke Nickel last year. I think he's improved. He looks stronger. His lower base as a quarterback, which is very important. Much bigger now, stronger overall, in better shape too. There were some comments last year that maybe he could get into better shape or whatnot for some people. He's in phenomenal shape right now as a quarterback. I feel like he's become more consistent, and I think he scans the field a little better than he did last year. Goes through his reads a little faster. Darian Coleman in particular, I shared this earlier. I don't want people to run away with this and say oh, Gio said this or whatever. This is just day one. So you have to take this just very carefully when I mention this. The arm talent, absolutely there. The ball flies off his hand. Everyone knew that with him coming in. He has to continue putting on some size. He has put some size on since he's arrived, but he has to continue doing so. The other thing I'll mention, though, is when I was watching him, I think that he still has to improve in terms of the speed of the game, like processing things and going through his reads. And that's totally fine. There's no QB ever, as long as I've been around this, that has come in day one of spring practice and he's just going through his reads like second nature. That never happens. So for anyone that jumps out and freaks out oh my God, what? Darian Coleman struggling? It's just day one. There's going to be some jumps and progression throughout camp that he'll get better with. But the arm talent is absolutely something to be really excited about for the future, what he could potentially be. I'm really excited about what I saw from Darian Coleman, and I'm definitely optimistic about what I saw from Luke Nickel too. I definitely think that he has improved from last year.
So right now, 1, 2, 3 would be obviously Mensa is the clear-cut number one.
Yeah, Mensa will be the starter, obviously.
Nickel would probably be 2 right now, be based on time with the team, and then Coleman or Judd Anderson is still there.
Yeah, Judd Anderson's there as well. My thing with Judd is he's got a very live arm, to be honest with you. He's got a strong arm. I do think, though, there's times where he has to put a little touch on the ball, and it's not necessarily there. It's almost like firing rockets into receivers' chests at times. It's not always needed to throw a bullet every single time. That's just kind of one of my takeaways with that. But athletically, he's the most athletically gifted guy in that room. So, hey, if it doesn't work out at quarterback for him, I think he could be a phenomenal tight end.
Well, those guys know the field. So first game, we're winning 50-0. If it was right now and they want to say, okay, 50-0, we're bringing in the second team, who do you think the guy is right now to come in and start the second half?
If it were today, March 24th, I would say it's Luke Nickel.
All right. So Luke Nickel will be coming out there 50-0. And hopefully we are blowing out teams at halftime. We can give our second, third, fourth stringers an opportunity. That would be awesome. Not only against the Florida A&Ms, Bethune-Cookmans, teams like that. We want to be able to do it against all ACC teams.
Yeah.
So getting all the backs opportunities, getting the receivers opportunities.
So offensive line before we move along here, but the interesting development, obviously, with day one, Jackson Cantwell getting plenty of burn at left tackle. He's been here since the playoff practices. He was able to take reps against guys like Akeem Mesdor and Ruben Bain. Now he's going up against speed rushers like Marquise Lightfoot and Damon Wilson and power guys like Armando Blunt, or guys that are even a hybrid between both types like Hayden Lowe. I think he's going to get phenomenal looks throughout the offseason to prepare him for what could come during the regular season. And honestly, I don't think there's many teams on Miami's regular season schedule that would give Cantwell that big of a challenge compared to what he's seeing on Green Tree. I think this is the type of stuff that fans should get excited about, that the practices are starting to become much more difficult than the games, which has always been the expectation in the past. So iron sharpens iron. I do think one of the biggest takeaways I'll say is he moves very well at his size. For a guy that's 6'7", 300 plus pounds, he moves very well. And I see why they're trying that first with him at left tackle opposed to some of the other guys. He can move for his size. So
we believe right now, if the season started, he would be penciled in at left guard, a left tackle?
As of right now, yes. We'll see as competition continues along, but left guard, Samson Okunlola, as expected. Ryan Rodriguez working there at center. I know SJ Alafaituli was getting some first-team reps as well, from what I heard. Right guard, Max Buchanan. Max Buchanan is the guy that I've talked about plenty throughout this offseason. Even last year, he had put some guys down the depth chart who had been here longer than him. There's a lot of people really bullish about what Max Buchanan could be, and right tackle Matthew McCoy. Jaden Wilkerson is another guy, a younger offensive lineman who's been here for a year, has really put in a lot of time and work. I'm not sure how much he'll play. Maybe if Miami has, like another 6 or 7 offensive lineman packages again this year, which wouldn't surprise me, I think you'll see him play out there. He could definitely factor in. And anyone else that I want to highlight there, I mentioned SJ. Jamal Merriweather as well will factor in with that group. I just think Miami's in a really good place with the offensive line. And there's some encouraging stuff, too, that I've heard on guys like Joel Irvin and Ben Congdon early on. So they have some pieces within that group. And to me, I do think the best move is having Cantwell at left tackle. I do think they have the right idea right now. Obviously, you hope it continues to translate throughout spring practice and he continues to take more steps forward.
Awesome. Remember to like and subscribe to the bless you, honey. Remember to like and subscribe the new CanesWear TV, the new CanesWear podcast channel. Lots of great things. We're going to be having, obviously, the CanesWear podcasts on there. We're going to have Gio's. He's going to be doing a lot of instant reactions like he did today. Who Wants to Smoke? Correct? Is going to be part of the
yes.
part of the rotation. Correct, Gio? Do we have any news on that yet, or is it still pending?
Oh, it's coming. It's going to be within the upcoming days. Me and Aman are coming back again to go on live. I know a lot of people have been asking and wondering. We got some things organized ahead of all this, and I'm sure everyone's going to be really excited about that. It was very well viewed and well received show. So
absolutely, we're excited to have Alan back, the family, the Who Wants Smoke, and that's going to be excited. A lot of good things. I'd like to get a spotter in here sometime, Gio, that they can go ahead and on the comments. Maybe people get points and things like that. A lot of things for our repeat, our repeat questions and things like that. We got a lot of regulars on the show. Also, remember, if you are make sure you're up. I'm sure everyone is. The CanesWear Rewards. Go to the CanesWear.com website. Join the rewards. We're going to be doing for extra things. We're going to be giving extra points and things like that, which is going to be exciting. From if you're downloading the mobile app, if you buy something on the mobile app, if you go ahead and obviously we know everyone here is going to be subscribing to the website, to the new YouTube channel. So a lot of exciting things, and only at CanesWear TV, CanesWear Podcast, we're going to be giving gift cards and points and lots of fun things and contests, and got some ideas on some CanesWear Podcast shirts, some Who Wants Smoke shirts. So a lot of fun things coming up because we feel you guys are the family and we want to take care of you just like you take care of us.
Absolutely. Make sure to subscribe at youtube.com/CanesWear. Also shop online at CanesWear.com. So on the defensive side, I'll rapid fire through this because I see some questions piling up and I want to get to, the community and what everyone's asking about, any specific questions they have. But defensive line, Only so much I could take away from that because they were further away from the side we were at as media for Tuesday morning. However, physically, everyone has known this. Hayden Lowe is an absolute freak show. This guy looks like an NFL player. Some people believe he could be an NFL player. Marquise Lightfoot's another guy that's taken another step in his development. He's stronger now, looks more filled out. Excited to see what he can show this spring. Damon Wilson looks the part as well physically. And one other guy in particular that I'm kind of impressed with his frame because I've heard that he's one of the stronger guys on the team, and especially in the defensive end room. Ashari Charles, the true freshman, really impressive how well he's built at this stage. Just getting here a little over 2 months ago and the work that he's put in as well. But only so limited that we can take away from that. Not a lot of body of work yet for the defensive lineman. Keanu Davis, the transfer from Nebraska, I definitely think he's going to become a fan favorite. High effort guy, high energy guy. The frame looks really good too. He's put on some weight since he left Nebraska. At Nebraska, he played a little more outside, sometimes inside. He's going to play more exclusively inside at Miami from what I've heard. And Justin Scott, he looks great. He looks great from a physique standpoint. He's gotten bigger since last year. Everyone noticed even last year the jump that he had. Stronger now. The coaches do think that he's a guy that could really explode this year. He really came alive towards that back half of the season last year. A lot of splash plays from him. Give me a second while I connect this here. And we'll see what comes for him this year. But linebacker and then DBs, and then we're going to jump to questions here. But linebackers in general. Chase Smith, new number for him. Oh, wait, before we get to linebackers, actually, Mario shared earlier in the afternoon that Ahmad Moten will be sitting out this spring, just clean up stuff. Want to remind people again, fans, that this is the prime time of the year that coaches prefer for players to have minor surgeries, minor things done, rather than waiting until fall camp, rather than waiting to see if things heal naturally. They like to get this cleanup work done. Perfect example of this, people forget this, but Francis Mauanoa was another one of those guys prior spring as well that he missed some time because he had done some cleanup work. Even his brother Francisco as well. So this is just a normal thing. This is not something to like be worried about, like, oh, when's he coming back? Whatever, he'll be back for fall camp. Linebackers, though. Chase Smith, new number, no longer in the 41. He's switched to 9. He actually had a really nice rep in 7-on-7 in terms of coverage as well. I think that's something he's always excelled at as long as been covering Miami, that he's always done really well in terms of those drills. Cam Pruitt, more filled out now. Kamal Bonner, out of anyone in that room, I think I see as the biggest transformation. In phenomenal shape now compared to last year. Had some injuries right before the season and during the season as well that kind of held him back from making the impact that some people felt he could have done, and how some of the coaches feel about him. He's going to be an interesting one to watch this spring. Someone who impressed me from an athletic standpoint, Jordan Campbell, the true freshman. I thought he looked pretty impressive in terms of the drills that he had done out there and when he was in on 7-on-7. I think a guy who could shine when the pads come on because of how he is, like with his instincts and the way he plays, is Justin J.J. Edwards, the true freshman, and Muhammad Trey out there as well. So only so much to go off with the linebackers, but defensive backs, I have plenty to share about that. To me, the biggest news, and this has been discussed since he arrived during the practices, during the playoff, and I mentioned him earlier in the show, J.J. Dunnigan, the true freshman safety who could play a multitude of positions in the secondary. He's capable of playing cornerback. He could play nickel. He could play safety. Brett, I think Miami's got a special talent on their hands. And, you know, some of the early comparisons when he was coming out of high school, some people felt like, oh, Jacoby Thomas, whatever, very similar frame, very similar play style. He's much more athletic.
Wow.
than Jacoby Thomas was. Very similar frame, but much more athletic and much faster too.
Wow. And
Um,
Jacoby is one guy that when he caught the ball, it was tough to bring him down, tough to go ahead and catch him sometimes. But that's amazing. That's exciting. How big is he? What's his size?
6'2", almost 200 something pounds. He already looks the part, plays the part. We'll see when pads come on, because some guys flash early on, and then when the contact starts, some may hit that freshman wall. So we have to see, but early signs are very, very encouraging. He had two.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Obviously, Jacoby was one of my favorite players, and I think he's going to have a great career. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, two really impressive pass breakups for him today from what I saw. And then from what I heard from some of the closed portion of practice as well, still making plays out there. Omar Thornton, I heard, shined more when they went outside onto the Green Tree Fields. But Bryce Fitzgerald in a new number. He's put on some more size since last year. Zachariah Poyser was really good during some of the 7-on-7 and 1-on-1 portions as well. And the cornerbacks room in general, Xavier Lucas stole the show in terms of the corners in general. He was phenomenal today. Really good. Tamari Brown, to me, though, if you're talking about like what you want it to look like, he looks like an NFL cornerback, Brett.
Wow.
Just the way he's built, just rock solid, pure muscle. The biggest thing with him is you just want him to stay healthy.
Stay on the field. If he can stay on the field, that's the key. Now, is he too muscular?
No, that could be a question, but he had a good day as well. OJ Frederick was out there as well. Ethan O'Connor was a little up and down today, but to me, it kind of appeared like Ethan O'Connor and OJ Frederick put on a little more muscle this offseason. They look a little more thicker compared to last season. The two takeaways I also want to mention about the cornerbacks room, Jalen Waters, I think he's the most ready of the true freshmen that are specifically cornerbacks. I think he's the most ready to play. How much he plays, we'll see. He had a few impressive plays today, even some reps against some veteran guys too that I was really impressed with. And the other one, Jabari Antoine, which everyone saw flashes from him late in the season last year, special teams, also getting on the field on defense as well late in the season. I'm not sure how much he'll play because of that top four group, but I think Miami has an interesting situation on their hands at cornerback where you kind of have to balance the veteran guys you have and some younger players that are ready to play and could help you right now. Chris Ewald is another that he had some nice reps today. Notice specifically with Chris Ewald, in terms of covering deep, did a really good job in terms of that, being able to track the ball and stick with his man downfield. Sometimes defensive backs get their eyes lost deep down the field. So I was really impressed with that. But overall, really good first day. You have to be careful with every single thing. It's the first day, obviously. No pads. Things will get more advanced as it goes. Pads will come on, contact, everything. We'll see how everyone responds to that as well. But solid first day overall. The energy was high. Mario was super pumped. Players were excited in general. It was a great first day, Brett, honestly. Oh, and last thing, last note, I mentioned this earlier. One of the most important things, and I hate to keep on kicking a dead horse about this, but there was an emphasis on day one with special teams units.
Wow, that's what I want to say. Finally.
Yeah. There was a very big emphasis. They ran it up quite a bit.
Hate to say it, but we would have had an emphasis on it last year. Who knows what would have happened? But special team is something that we have not excelled in for so many years, it seems like. And hopefully we can get back to that. Who's our special team coach again?
Coach Coulter.
Coach Coulter. All right. So excited if we can get special teams going along. There's obviously the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball, and special teams, which is key. Sounds like the way you were describing the defensive backs. I mean, could we be, DBU again? Because it's been a while since last year. Brett, I think we had a great season, as we're going to see the NFL draft, Keontae Scott and Jacoby go. But I think we're getting even better and better in the secondary.
Yeah, Zachariah Poyser will be the leader within that safety room. Guys just really gravitate towards him. They love him. Cornerback room is phenomenal, and just even getting Bryce Fitzgerald back, and you add Omar Thornton and Conrad Hussey has some ability too, and you bring in a guy like JJ Dunnigan who could be a special player, potentially special player if things continue to translate with pads on. That defensive back room is deep, Brett. The deepest it's been since the early 2000s, honestly. Just talent perspective, and even on a consistency perspective, because there's been some talented groups before in the past, or like you had like one or two talented guys, but the consistency was always the key. And there's consistency with those units, and I think it all starts with Will Harris and even Terry Jefferson as well.
All right, exciting times. I mean, first day of spring, we had pro day yesterday, for which we had over 100. What was it, 102 or 105 different people watching? We had all 32.
Yeah, over 100.
There. Exciting that what 4 years ago was it 2022? We had a 7th round draft pick. That was it, if I'm correct.
John Ford, yeah.
And now we're lighting up the draft. Every team is coming. We got people from this isn't Ohio State. This isn't Alabama. This isn't Michigan. This is the Miami Hurricanes, and people are paying attention. So whatever we thought about Mario, thinking he can recruit, he definitely can. And it seems like last year he proved he can win. Didn't get the big one, but we got awfully close. So I think everybody, if you're not excited about the orange and green this year, then wake up! I think Juan Manuel said, Brett, you got to get excited. Wake up, Canes fans! My wife's hysterical.
Absolutely wake up. The other thing, Brett, I just think the roster is constructed very well. Just from top to bottom, how deep the receiver room is, the defensive backs, the running backs room. I like the place where they're at with the quarterback room right now too. Yeah. I think there's definitely something to work with there and what they're continuing to build. The offensive line, I know fans will have concerns because they're like, how do we replace Francis and Inez Cooper and this guy and Brockermeyer? I think the offensive line is going to be fine. And I think mostly some of the things that'll be contributed to that is Miami's still very deep on the defensive line. I think the defensive tackle room is going to be better, even better than they were last year. I think they're deeper with more veteran experience as well. Defensive end, we'll see. I think from a pass rushing standpoint, I think they'll be fine. We'll have to see how they play against the run. I think key guys I'm looking at is like Armando Blunt and Hayden Lowe in those type of situations. And linebacker, most of the room returns. You add more, and you have a guy like Kamal Bonner healthy now. Oh, one last guy from the linebacker room I came away impressed with, Kellen Wiley. Kellen Wiley, man, just from an athletic standpoint and how it looks, 6'3", 240, can really move. I just hope that he's taking the next step in terms of his development, like just applying it to the field, being able to read and understand what opposing offense is doing. I think if he could do that, he could really hit the ground running. I'm excited for the potential at linebacker aside from Mohamed Toure. I think that group could improve. Defensive back is still going to be great, though, and which is crazy to say because you lose a guy like Keontae Scott and Jacoby Thomas. You'd expect big drop-offs, but I don't think a big drop-off is going to happen. I think those groups, I think that group specifically is they're going to steady the seas and they're going to continue going.
Great news. We are ecstatic, and that was only the first day of spring. And spring practice is going to go on for how long?
So it's 15 practices in total. So number one is down. There's 14 more. That absolute last one of the 14 remaining is the spring game. So you have 13 leading up into the spring game on April 18th. In terms of the venue, I know everyone's been asking this. I've heard that it's going to be hosted on campus again at Cobb Stadium. Don't hold me to that, but that's what I've heard, that the coaches prefer it that way. They like the intimate setting, and I agree with them. I think it's a perfect setting. I know some of the fans don't enjoy it because access to it is a little more limited and getting tickets to it and whatnot, but it is a prime recruiting event for the coaches and just these players and their families and everything. It's a really great setting what they have.
It's a lot easier to be.
If anything, because there's no spring transfer portal window this year, Brett, I say they should broadcast it, put it on the ACC network.
Absolutely. I mean, we won't have the 80,000 fans like some of these teams, but that's all right. Miami has never been that type of team. We've never drawn the big crowds except for in the big games, and that's the way it was when we played in the Orange Bowl. That's the way it's always been. So we're doing just fine. So you're right. So no matter what happens, just want to see the competition, just want to see the energy, and once that game is April 18th, we're looking at what, May, June, July, about 3 more months till actually ball practice.
Well, I think what will make that time go by quicker for the fans is the good thing about when spring ends, you're going to be jumping right into official visit season a few weeks right after. So there's going to be no shortage of like things happen around the program, buzz, the off-season workouts that the players will be having around that time, and the work they'll be doing individually. There's going to be more consistent basis of things coming in during that time period, opposed to I know some people have discussed this, even on my private boards. People were saying that they're like, "Man, things are dead," and I said, "Yeah, this is the slowest time of the year." But now that drought is over. Spring football is here, and there's going to be so much to talk about.
I mean, there's so much. Then we got the draft, the NFL draft, with several Canes will be involved in that. So could be a record amount we've had in a while. So, well, great news. Remember to smash the like button. Go ahead and please subscribe to the CanesWear channel. Lots of good things, and we are very excited to be here. Gio, anything else before we get to some questions and comments?
No, that's about it. I'll be back out at practice Thursday. We'll have some more after that, and just continuing with coverage for spring football. So without further ado, let's get to some questions here. Rev Kramer said earlier, I'll be back soon. Oh yeah, he's watching the show. Let's see here. Juan Manuel, thank you for always stopping by. He said, hey, y'all, Canes football is back. Beware of true freshmen stealing spots. J.J. Dunnigan, Samari Wingo coming for spots. Both very impressive, and both guys to watch very closely going forward. He said, hey, Gio and Brett, are you excited? Come on, Brett, show some emotion.
Let's go, Canes! Let's go, Canes! Let's go, Canes! Sorry, honey. I know. Juan Manuel asked me to show some emotion, honey.
We also shared here, hey, Gio, heard Keona Davis, the defensive tackle transfer, looks huge, even 300 pounds. Yes, right around that range. He's put on some size since he was at Nebraska last year. Miami has J.J. Dunnigan, Wingo problem. These two didn't get the memo. Freshmen don't dare be this good. Tony and Fitzgerald started a monster. Yeah. Like I said, I think guys like Cantwell, Wingo, and Dunnigan could really factor in this year. And even potentially Gavin Mueller, too. Jacoby Graggs, thank you for always stopping by. He said, go Canes, smash that like button. Yes, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We have to build this up. It's a brand new channel. Juan Manuel, Cuban time. Yes, we were a little bit later today. Sorry about that. Shaboy Kane, go Canes. Yes, go Canes. Go Canes,
baby.
Howard Stern, Gio is the Adam Schefter of Miami Hurricanes football.
Absolutely. I love that Howard Stern. Howard Stern is the Howard Stern of our show.
All right. Gio, how did these players look size-wise? Lightfoot, Keona Davis, Armando Blunt, Fitzgerald, J.J. Dunnigan, Israel Briggs. What is up with McCoy at right tackle? Cantwell, how does Miami rotate wide receiver and running back? Okay, so how those players looked size-wise. I believe I mentioned all those guys aside from Armando Blunt earlier. But Lightfoot, he's bigger now. He's put on more muscle and size. Keona Davis is a little bit bigger than he was last year in Nebraska. He's going to play a little more on the interior at Miami. I think Miami fans are really going to like him in terms of his energy and the motor he plays with. High energy guy who's very much like that today as well. Armando Blunt, always been just a really big guy, just big, strong guy. kind of look the same as like what I recall from last year, but I'll get a better look on the next practice. I'm going to focus more on the trenches on day 2. Bryce Fitzgerald, he's bigger. JJ Dunnigan, really impressive for a guy that just got here. He's 6'2". If he's not 200 pounds, he's pretty close to it now. He's built very, very well. He looks like a veteran guy already from a physique standpoint, and he's playing like it right now. I just hope that continues when the pads come on. Israel Briggs, he's put on size since he's arrived. And I mentioned earlier what I thought about him was that from an athletic standpoint, I think he's like the most fluid guy in that room, almost a pseudo wide receiver of sorts that I think he's a tight end in the future that you could see that they're going to flex him out. They're going to use him maybe a little different from the other guys in the room. But I definitely think, I don't know if it's this year, but I think by next year, he could be a guy that could really contribute on this team. And then you mentioned what is up with McCoy at right tackle and Cantwell. Yeah, so McCoy starting out at right tackle, Cantwell at left tackle. I think it's the correct move just based on like the footwork of those two guys. I think McCoy is more natural at right tackle rather than being on the blind spot. The other thing here, let's see, he said, how does Miami rotate wide receiver and running back? That's going to be the $1 million question. I don't even know that right now. You expect Mark Fletcher to be the guy at running back coming off the season he had. I think maybe they'll lean more on a committee style early on to keep him fresh for a long run. I think you'd expect that. I'm just specifically watching a guy like Jordan Lyle very closely this spring. I know some people have soured on him. You know, he had the injury last year and everything. I think he's the forgotten man in that room. And I think as long as he stays healthy, he's a guy that could really have a resurgence this year. It looks the part physically as well. He's built very well. He's put on significant muscle since his first year at Miami. And as long as he's healthy, I think a bounce back season could be in store. I think people forget some of the guys who've had some sophomore slumps in the past. You know, it's even guys that are about to go to the NFL right now. They had sophomore slumps here, whether it was an injury or just their play wasn't up to par, whatever the case. So wide receiver, though, how that rotation could go, who knows at this point? It's a deep group. I think there's going to be a lot of competition. I think it's fair to expect that, you know, Tony and Barcade as two very strong possibilities as mainstays, but the rest is going to be all open to competition. Even a guy I forgot to mention, Dalen Upshaw really had a pep in his step today. He's got a new number 2 wearing 7. It was leading a lot of the receiver drills early on today as well. So we'll see. Just a ton of competition there. I don't want to start pegging like players to specific spots saying like this guy will be 3rd, 4th, 5th or whatever. I am really bullish on what Joshua Moore could be this year. I think he's a guy that could really elevate, but you got to let competition sort itself out. I think there's going to be plenty there. Dolphin Derek. Hey, thank you for stopping by, Derek, as always. He said, go Canes.
Go Canes, baby. Dolphin Derek going to the draft this year to root on all the Hurricanes to get drafted.
Absolutely. Juan Manuel. It's a scary thing, but Miami may be the deepest and most talented team in the country. I'm more concerned with coaching and injuries than talent. Jacoby Greggs. Hell yeah, I'm with Gio. This is the best group we have ever had. Yeah, I do think. All right, here's my take on this. I think the floor could be lower for this team than last year, Brett, but I think the ceiling is higher. I think there's more talent. It's just more so the perspective of can it all gel well together? And like, can some of these young guys contribute similar to like Malachi Toney or Bryce Fitzgerald last year, or like even a Gerard Pringle? I do think Miami has some freshmen like that. They can do it, but we just got to see it all come together. So I sit on the side of I think the floor could be slightly lower, but I think the ceiling could be higher.
Well, the floor definitely can be slightly lower just based on how our results from last year and where we got and everything like that. I mean, this team will be judged against last year's teams in most importantly where they finish. Not only the record, obviously the ACC title would be nice this year, but obviously when teams go to a championship in year one of something. They want to be there in the second year. And really, it wasn't the first year, the second or third year, whatever we're counting for Mario. We want to get to the champ. I think most fans want to get to the championship and win it this year. And a lot of teams in history that have lost the championship have come back and won the championship. So it's definitely a possibility, but it's a gauntlet, the playoffs. Anything can happen. We upset most teams this year. So people are going to be shooting for us next year.
Absolutely. And Jacoby Graggs, again, it's going to be so exciting seeing these new guys get snaps on the field. Very excited for spring this year.
Excited.
Mr. Hey Hey, thank you for stopping by again. He said, can Benny Blades and Brian Blades make this team? If not, that's a shame. I think they could make this team easy.
I think so too. That would be a pretty good. If we got a team that those guys can't, that'd be quite talented team.
The other thing I'll share, Mr. Hey Hey, I saw your guy Zion Vilma out there today. He was visiting Miami.
Yes, and Mr. Hey Hey asked me earlier, when can we have Zion on? If we can have him on, maybe he's ready. Actually, last show, Zion's dad was the one that asked about Zion. I heard.
Oh, really?
If we can get, if we can make some time, I'm supposed to ask you. Maybe Thursday, maybe soon. We'll figure it out when we.
Yeah, we can figure out the timing.
Like that. He would love to be on the show.
Absolutely. Juan Manuel, Mensa will scare me a little versus Notre Dame, good and bad. Mensa will get a 60-yarder or more touchdown versus Notre Dame, but I think Notre Dame's Tay Johnson or Leonard Moore could pick six Mensa. Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily worried about that right now because that's so far away in middle of November. But
I think anybody can be pick six. True. But obviously, Cam Ward had a pick six against him, if you recall, and anything can happen. But I wouldn't. If that's the biggest concern you have right now, Juan Manuel, you are sleeping well, my friend.
Yep. Jacoby Graggs said Cam Vaughn for that number 3 receiver. I don't know. I mean, he had a really good day, but Vandrevius Jacobs did too. I think a lot of fans are going to love Vandrevius Jacobs just for the ability he has to get downfield. Brett, this guy can fly. He can get downfield in a hurry.
So we are loaded at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all figures out. I can't even make up a depth chart on that right now, to be honest. Aside from like who I think the top 2 guys could be, but they're definitely deeper than they were last year. There's more. The floor is higher and the ceiling is higher too, in my opinion. Mr. Hey Hey, Serenity now.
Insanity later, Mr. Hey
Hey. Kevin Andino, how did Cooper look? Cooper.
Great question.
Cooper Barkade.
That is a great question.
So there's been some discourse on Cooper Barkade, at least from some fans over the past couple of weeks. Some fans questioning like, oh, his athleticism or how fast he is and everything. He's plenty fast enough. He's not the fastest guy in the room, but he's plenty fast enough. He's a very smart kid in general, very football smart too. The other thing I'll share as well, he's built really well. Brett, I'd say he's about 6'1", 6'2", pushing 195, 200 pounds. He's very solidly built, strong hands, understands how to use leverage as a receiver to create situations for himself, to get open, to break away from a receiver at the point of a catch as well. So to me, yeah, he may not be the most flashy guy for fans, but I take substance over flash any day at receiver. Receiver is a technician type of position. You have to put in time and work and the craft, and he does all of that. So for the people saying like, oh, he doesn't look overly explosive or whatever, that was never his game to begin with.
Guys, there's guys, that just know how to get open. They want to get open.
You know who I compare him to, actually, Brett? You know who he reminds me of? Do you remember Eric Decker, who played for Minnesota in college, and then he played for the Broncos? He reminds me of Eric Decker, and Eric Decker was a really good receiver.
Absolutely. No, it's like, I compare wide receivers and catching a ball to a rebounding in basketball. A guy that wants it is going to get it. I mean, Dennis Rodman was not the biggest guy, but he can get any rebound he wanted to. even though, what was he, 6'8", 6'7"? Charles Barkley as well. It's at 6'5". You want the rebounds, and you know how to position yourself. A wide receiver as well. You get in position. You want the ball more than anybody else, and you're going to get the ball. And if you got big, strong hands, you can pull it down. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are not the greatest athletes, it seems, that can star at their positions.
Howard Stern, when do the pads come on? That's when you really know who's making moves. So you got the NCAA acclimation period, which is about, from what I recall, it's supposed to be like 3 practices, and then they could start putting the pads on. So by this weekend, they'll start putting pads on. And in terms of a scrimmage, the first scrimmage will probably be next weekend. Very likely to see that.
It's like the NFL Combine. Those guys are running around without pads. There's great athletes. They look great. And then a guy flops. 100% correct. We need to make sure that these guys, and nothing matters more than actually in-game scenarios.
Yeah. Juan Manuel, Gio, and Brett. While impressive as Cooper Barkett is with Mensa connecting us, I still think Wingo and Vaughn are too talented for Cooper Barkett not to at least share snaps. More will be pushed by Harris and everything. Yeah, I do think there's going to be a healthy rotation at the receiver spot. I'm not saying that, Cooper Barkate's going to be on the field 24/7, and neither is Malachi Tony. Those guys will get some breaks in between. But always, at least I've noticed with the Shannon Dawson system, at the normal amount of guys they've actually played, like actually playing, it's anywhere ranging between 5 to 6. And then sometimes in some big games, they even shorten that rotation too. So we'll see. Deep group overall, though. I couldn't even figure out right now to give you a definite like top 6 or top 7 of how that group would shake out. You got to let it play out. Mr. Hey Brown was injured today. I don't want to talk about injuries right now. Juan Manuel, Gio, Wingo, Vaughn, and Paris are great. Each will challenge Cooper Barkate and Josh Moore if they don't bring their best consistently. Agreed. Plenty of competition.
We like competition.
Mr. Hey said, Brett, Fletcher TV. It's gold, Brett. Gold.
I like it, Mr. Hey. Gold, baby.
Juan Manuel, Brett, who are your starting 5 in the offensive line? Gio, yours. And then Juan Manuel said his is what did he put down here? Hold on. McCoy, Max Sampson, Merriweather. That's what he put down. Brett, you have one or no?
I'm not there yet, but this, I never like to pick out individual players. A lot of guys come to our store and things like that. So I think your choices are excellent, Juan Manuel. I don't want some parents saying to me, Brett, you didn't pick my son? So I think those are excellent choices.
You asked me my opinion. I do think Jackson Cantwell will win that left tackle job, just ultimately. I'm going to go with left guard. I think Samson Okunlola will stay there, and I think he's going to have a really good year. Center, I'm going to go with Ryan Rodriguez. I think people are not giving him enough credit. Yes, he's had injuries and everything, but he also has a lot of experience. He's played a lot of snaps. And next after that, right guard, I'm going to go Max Buchanan. And right tackle, Matthew McCoy. And then I think some of your swing guys on the offensive line that you could see them rotating in at certain points or in a pinch if someone gets hurt or potentially as a 6th or 7th offensive lineman on the field. I think those guys will be your like Jaden Wilkerson or oh my goodness, the other guy I'm forgetting now, Jaden Wilkerson, SJ Alafaituli, and Jamal Merriweather. I think those will be kind of like your swing offensive linemen.
I just want to stay healthy, and a lot of interchanging parts will be great.
Mr. HD shared Buck Ortega, Gio. I remember Buck Ortega. That was
absolutely.
Sean Taylor's high school quarterback. He ended up converting to tight end at Miami. He's a great athlete. Canes Jones, thank you for stopping by as always, Canes Jones. Good evening, Canes. Brett, it's the first day. A reach freshman has 9 games to play without losing. Yeah, that's true. They've actually approved that yet already?
So it's 9 games instead. Wow, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think I thought it was still up for ballot. I wasn't sure if it was approved yet. I got to double check.
You can
But
play 9 games
yeah,
and still be redshirted. So you go from 5 to 6 or 6 to 7 years.
Mr. Hey shared, Brett, I got the Airbnb for the Notre Dame game. Gio,
Hey, good to hear. I'm ready.
He also said, Gio, thank you for the early afternoon show. Absolutely. There's going to be more of that, more of those quick instant reaction things. It's just things that roll off the top of my head that I just saw. So
we love that. That's a great.
There'll be more of it. Howard Stern, basically, it's official. Jefferson is the new cornerback coach. The coach from MacArthur just told me. Yeah, I'm not going to go into details on that, but I do expect him to ultimately have the job. Jacoby Graggs, if it is Howard, I ain't mad at it like how he was coaching. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, Terry Jefferson's always been a fiery guy. He's a high-energy guy. Look, here's the other thing I'll share. For everyone that loves Keontae Scott, you know who worked with him the most? The 2 coaches that worked with Keontae Scott the most last year? Terry Jefferson and Will Harris. Both are still on the staff.
Awesome.
Mr. Hey with a U. Howard Stern. Did Mario, we got to trust, but I will say these are very iffy hires. None of these coaches have any recruiting background. None of these coaches have any experience. I'm going to push back on that a little bit, Howard Stern. Actually, when it comes to Vidi, the tight ends coach, highly regarded as a coach overall, actually won the Joe Moore Award as well at his previous stop at Army. The only reason why he didn't leave was that he was an alum there, and it took a very significant job for him to jump at and leave from Army. He's had offers before in the past. The other guy that won the Joe Moore Award with him is now a head coach at Central Michigan. So the other thing I'll share too is I know someone personally that had a recruitment with Army specifically and had interaction with the new tight ends coach and said that he can absolutely recruit. And I've also seen jokes from fans too that, you know, if you've been in the Army or whatever, hopefully you know how to be a recruiter too.
Yeah. I mean, there's leading men into battle and there's leading men into battle.
Yeah.
This guy obviously has done it all. He's coached at Army. He's been at Army. He's been in the Army. I mean, you can't you can't have much more. I'm excited about him because I think he's going to be a disciplinarian too. And listen, we need as much of that as we can get.
Well, that and just overall, I think the tight ends have to block better than they did last year.
Correct. And if he could lead to less penalties or something on this team that people, you know, he's obviously a natural leader. It takes just one guy, one play, 1 year.
Here's the other thing, Brett, that fans are overlooking, but I know this from football standpoint and talking to people that have been around the game. A lot of times the tight ends, they take cross training from the receivers coach. And then the tight end coach is more so in line with like teaching them the blocking concepts and what they need to do where they're at. So for the people like, oh, well, you know, he's never been technically a tight ends coach. Believe me, it goes kind of hand in hand. And mind you, I just want to share this again. Mario Cristobal was also a tight end coach at one point as well. People forget that. And
listen, he's an offensive line coach, correct? That's what he's always been?
VD, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't hurt since that is the cornerstone of this team is the offensive line. And what more to gab on an offensive line than saying, hey, I'm going to have multiple guys that can help me. That's awesome. We should be able to get every offensive line possible as long as the money is right.
Oh, absolutely. And just even from hold on a second. There we go. The light head went out and flickered. Just even from the perspective of like development, that's a huge selling point for these kids with Miami as well. Mm-hmm. Just if you're an offensive lineman, just Mario Cristobal and his background and what they've done so far, the body of work since arriving here, and what should even be counted more about what they did at Oregon too. You know,
correct.
I've heard through the grapevine that Oregon has tried to take some of the credit for the guys that Mario and Coach Mirabal developed there.
Now, if you can imagine if our tight ends are blocking as well, you know, if they have better technique and everything like that, it's I'm excited as can be to have him on the staff.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Howard Stern, linebacker play is going to be the key to the defense. I absolutely agree.
That is the glue that has to come together to bring everything. And it seems like that has been a position of not strength on our defense for a while. It'd be great to get back to where we were the old days with the Bermuda Triangle and so many others that were so amazing where we were LBU.
Yep. Absolutely. I do think there's been a desire from fans, even internally with the coaches, that wanting to take that linebacker group to the next level, to getting it back to the standard. I agree with this comment from Howard Stern. There's always players that shine in shorts and doesn't translate when the pads are on. Let's not forget about that. He's absolutely right, and that's why we continue to tell people, don't get overworked. It's just the first day. There's a lot that can happen. There's a lot that can change. There's plenty that can change once the pads come on. So just
I love it. Like I say, in the combines, they forget about whatever a guy did in his whole college career. Let's look at him in shorts and running and how good of an athlete he is. We're just going to forget about the guy, and let's say he played 3 or 4 years. That doesn't matter. It's all about how he's running around, in his shorts. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Howard Stern asks here, Gio, which underclassmen do you see that could leave early for the NFL draft right now? I never want a guy to leave unless they're absolutely prepared to. But on the development path that they are on, and as long as it translates to the field this year, Marquise Lightfoot, I've said this on the last show, actually. Marquise Lightfoot and Justin Scott are two guys I'm watching in particular that I think could make that jump if they do what I think they can do on the field and what people think they can do.
They're both juniors this year?
Yes, they're both going to be juniors.
Okay.
Let's see here. And, well, if you consider Damari Brown or a guy like Xavier Lucas Xavier Lucas, no, he's an upperclassman now. Hold on. Underclassman? Yeah, even guys like Xavier Lucas or OJ Frederick or Damari Brown, I think those guys are capable of have a great year and then move on to the next level. Mr. Hey said, "Let's go CanesWear. Panthers win." Yes,
absolutely good. Panthers win. Are they still on it? Who knows?
Let's see here. Canes Jones. Where there's been a need every year, Mario has tried and improved those holes. So special teams and tight end coaching was the need this offseason. Absolutely, Canes Jones, right on the money. You're right on the money, and I've shared that several times, that the biggest thing you have to be appreciative for as a fan with Mario Cristobal as head coach is that you're absolutely right, that when there has been a problem or a glaring need for something, that Mario has addressed it relatively quick, that within that next season it gets addressed. The first year people said, oh, Coach Mirabal said the offensive line would never be a weakness. It's a weakness this year. The very next year, that offensive line completely changed. They brought in guys like Javian Cohen, Matt Lee, Francis Malinois arrived. There's big changes. Nez Cooper took the next step the following year. I'm a big believer in terms of how Mario addresses things. Is it always the fastest approach that some people ask for? No, but I do think it's methodical and very thoroughly thought out. Mr. Hey, I told you that last week. It's at Cobb Field. Yep. Juan Manuel Gio. Notre Dame thinks they have the best secondary ever with 3 potential All-Americans. Leonard Moore, Tay Johnson, Aiden Schuler, which those 3 could be. ND will be surprised UM may match them. Yeah, I don't think Aiden Schuler is an All-American. I do think he's a good player, but Leonard Moore is for real. I absolutely agree on their take with that. However, we'll see. We'll let everything be decided on the field.
Didn't they think they had the best defensive line last year? That didn't do much for them. Didn't they think they had the best running backs? That didn't do much for them against us. So they can feel whatever they want. In Coral Gables, they have a plan.
Yeah, the generational running back that they talked so much about, he only put up 33 yards. So
I hope he lights up the NFL, and it'll just show how great the Canes the Canes defense was.
Yeah. Notre Dame faces no competition. I agree with you, Mr. Hey.
Yeah, so they're automatically in. I think if they're a top 100 teams, something like that.
Howard Stern said, that's strange.
Oh.
No practice tomorrow. Is there a reasoning for that? Just no practice tomorrow, but Thursday and Friday there will be practice and Saturday. So yeah, just a break in between. Having Judd Anderson next to Coleman just doesn't look right. Pause. Oh, come on. Don't be rude. Jacoby Greg's laughing. Howard Stern. Brett, can we get Who's Your Daddy t-shirt state champs with Mario's face on top of the Florida State and Florida Gators logo?
Actually, I would like that. That'd be kind of cool. Who's your daddy? They do hit us a little bit when we want Mario's face and things like that. But I'll take that under advisement and see if we can get something like that run. Great idea. Who's your daddy?
Juan Manuel asked, Gio, can you talk about the 6'8", 300-pound rugby player who would be a summer 26 enrollment? Yes, so you're talking about Jeff Jiwa. That I think it's Jiwa, how you pronounce the last name. But, yeah, he was on campus visiting today. He's almost the same size as Markel Bell, actually. He's about –
Is he the one that took the picture with Francis and they talked about he's from
yeah.
Okay, so, yeah. So he's that big? He's 6'8", 300?
So the official measurement today was 6'7.5", but still at roughly 6'8". He's a big guy.
What is he in high school? Senior?
He's basically like 20 years old right now, but he would be a true freshman and he could enroll this summer.
Wow.
And Miami was the first school on him. Then a barrage of other teams tried to come into play. There was a school, I forget the name now, but the report came out today. Someone shared it that there was a school trying to offer him a ton of money before he got to his Miami visit. And he said, no, I want to see Miami first before I make a decision because they were the first school to offer me and believe in me.
So he's 20 years old. He'll come in ready at 6'8", 300, and he's athletic and powerful?
Yeah.
Wow. We need that guy. Maybe he can play
he'll need some refinement because he hasn't played a ton of like American football, but the guy's physical. He's athletic freak too. Brett, you should see some of the videos on this guy. It's really impressive.
Maybe he can go two ways with basketball too. The guy is he's a rugby player. That's one crazy sport.
Trigger One from YouTube asked, did Josh Moore practice today? No comment. Jacoby Greggs, Josh Johnson, what a get. Yes, I agree. I think it's very underrated get. To me, the guy I like the most between the two they landed today, I'm a big fan of Sherrod Gourdine. I think he's going to be a big-time player at the next level. Miami was very thorough with that evaluation, and they're a big believer in what he could do. Will Harris, huge fan of him as well.
He used to be a great pitcher for the Marlins, too.
Yeah. Mr. Hey, let's make early shows. Yep. Hassan, Gio and Brett, I don't want to say I told you so, but Mario is building a monster in Miami. You know what? Hassan's right. He called it out even when the whole SMU debacle happened. He's stuck on the train. He said, watch, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. Even that he got me that at a certain point about 2 weeks after that, I started hopping on the train saying, hey, I do think Miami could get in. He said,
I totally agree with you. I said the next week, I posted it on X, I posted it on Facebook, that if we blow out every team, we will get in 100%. I was sweating it at the end, though. But Hassan was, when we were on the rare moments that we were negative, which Gio and I are rarely ever negative, and everybody was negative, and we fell for it a little bit, and I was angry, and he's right. I mean, and I'd like to say, because Gio and I were so upset with Mario, is what changed everything. I'd like to say we had that power, Hassan. That's what I'm going to stick with right now.
He shared here, in a few years, people will be talking about Mario like they were talking about Saban. He said, I swear I'm not drunk.
That'll be great. If they're talking about like Mario, like Saban, I will be the happiest guy in the world.
Howard Stern, you really got to give Mario his props. Always been 3 to 4 years ago. We didn't even have 10 people for Miami's Pro Day back then. Yeah,
really?
Wow. The program has changed so much since he's arrived. I like to think, that he kind of built upon the flashes people saw when Mark Richt got here, but much more advanced. I think Mark Richt really got that ball rolling, and then Mario just took it to a whole different level. Mr. Hey Hey, the whole team looked very big today. Yes, they did.
Yes, we are huge.
It looks so different compared to when Mario first got here. Actually, this is a funny story, Brett. I remember hearing about this through a few boosters that when Mario first got here, one of the first things he said to some people in the building, he said, "Man, but where are the big guys at? Where are the big uglies at? Like, we need strong people, large human beings." That's one of Mario's favorite sayings, large human beings.
He had said that. Former players had said, Mario says, until he gets the big players, he's not going to be able to do what he needs to do. And he was right, and he's getting them now.
Let's see. Howard Stern said, Ethan O'Connor is going to get past on the Dutch watch. That's not nice.
Howard Stern.
Mr. Hey Hey. Brett, Mr. Hey Hey shirts. It's sponge-worthy.
Yes, definitely. You know, we definitely got to have the sponge-worthy Mr. Hey Hey shirts. And you're
Juan Manuel said, hey, take a minute to hit the like button and subscribe. There are a lot of people for the amount of likes. It needs to be higher. I agree. The likes need to match more of the views. I absolutely agree.
Yes, like, subscribe, lots of good things, and we agree. We need to be higher, and thank you. We are excited. I'm not going to say we're going to be number one yet, but stay tuned.
Jacoby
you guys
Greggs,
are the ride. You are the originals. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Jacoby Greggs asked here, why wasn't Shannon Dawson at practice? He was, actually. Shannon Dawson was at practice.
Was he?
Yeah, he was there. He literally passed right by me. He was talking with the receivers at one point. Howard Stern, Gio, does McCoy look like he's in better shape, especially now that he's playing right tackle? He was way too overweight last year. He looks a little more svelte. He's trimmed down a little bit. Juan Manuel, who would Mylan Paris compare it to? He is unique with his frame. I'm not sure who to compare him to, but I mean,
Carmichael?
The frame is a little similar to like the type of frame Lawrence Cager had, in my opinion. I think maybe Mylan Paris is a little bit thicker arriving at Miami, but he's faster. He's faster than what Lawrence Cager was though.
Cager 6'6"?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like, okay, wow.
Jacoby Greggs said, well, doing the media portion, I didn't see. Yeah, that's because there was only today. It was just Mario and certain players at the media portion. Not all coaches were there. Hoplite, what's up, Canes fans? Smash that like button. Welcome to the U, Josh Johnson. Thank you for stopping by, Hoplite. I see more people stopping by from like the previous channel and everything. So continue subscribing. We got to get that number up and continue getting the views up. This is brand new.
Follow us. We're excited. This is going to be great stuff.
Howard Stern, Nevers Shapiro has just been hired as an NIL advisor to Mario. Florida State Pro Days this Friday. I heard Popeye's Chicken is taking their whole staff to see their future employees. Yeah, you know what? I was talking about it with a few Canes fans in a group chat that I'm in, big group chat that we're in. And
really big. It's an incredibly big, large.
So some of the comments there, you know, is like the stuff about Pro Day and whatnot for Florida State. And I shared this, that my thought is this when it comes to Florida State. Yes, they're down right now. I personally don't like it that they're down. I think it's better for college football when Miami and Florida State are competing for national titles. You know, obviously everyone loves it. We all love it as Miami fans that Miami's competing for national titles now. But I think it's better for the landscape as a whole when both are good and when the rivalry is like really strong and at its peak for the sport. However, my other thing though, I'm never going to say never that they could bounce back, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think it's going to take some time. I think, Brett, I'll tell you this. I think they are in the position where Miami was some years ago, but even worse. And it's going to take some time for them to claw back.
Well, they don't have a lot of money. They're stuck in a contract with a coach that people don't want to play for. I mean, if he has a good year, he can turn around. But if they have a bad year and they keep him again, I mean, the fans of the U, the Gators, UCF, USF are going to be ecstatic.
Yeah. Let's see. Good comparison, Gio. Proud
They did
Cat.
beat Alabama last year. They did beat Alabama last year.
True. But I think Alabama just wasn't prepared for that game. Proud Cat Dad of 8. If we don't play more receivers or include more of them in the rotation, you will lose more than a few of them after this year. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. There's only one ball. Not everyone can get it, so they got to find that balance. There's a ton of
running backs. I mean, that's another thing. They got to get these guys they all came back. They got to get them all carries.
All right, so Juan Manuel asks, is Vandrevius Jacobs more than a deep threat? Yes, he is. He's very good in the quick game as well. Does he have other routes that he runs? Because in his highlights, he has some nice underneath routes. Yes, you're correct. Catches and run after. The one versus Clemson was majestic. Yeah, I think fans are really going to like Vandrevius Jacobs. He's very, very fast. Very, very fast. I think he'll definitely be someone that fans enjoy to watch this year. And he actually has multiple years available. He has 2 years. Jay Easler. So do you think we rotate at wide receiver from start or towards the end of the season again? I think the rotation will be more from the start. And I think Miami kind of saw that along the path this year, that you need to keep those guys fresh and you need to give different looks too. You can't get so boxed in to just a couple guys. You got to give different looks.
On the field, would it seemed like 80% of the time? Would you say that at least?
Yeah. Malachi won't leave the field that much. That'll never really happen because of how dynamic he is. But I do think they even realized along the way last season that you got to mix in some other guys into the group. Jay's there. Let's see. He also shared, do you think we rotate our... Oh, yeah. No, he already asked that. One Manuel. Cooper Barkate reminds me a lot like Wesley Carroll, 89, 90, same size, athletic, outstanding route runners, medium range receiver. Gio, if you'd watch Wesley Carroll, he was a craftsman of a receiver. Yeah, he was a phenomenal player.
He was phenomenal, Wesley Carroll. Underrated.
I mean, I wasn't alive back then. I wasn't even born. I have watched a bunch of the old tapes from the teams back then. Very good slot receiver in general. And the other thing is, I do know that he came out of a JUCO as well. He was a JUCO product. Let's see here. Gaines Jones, great answer, Brett. It's about the money over options. Yep. Money Counter 305. Hey, Gio and Brett, do you think Jason Taylor gets one of his top targets recruits this cycle? Doesn't seem like in 2026 we got that premier 5-star edge. Well, it depends on what you think of that, because they were really excited about Ashari Charles, and he took a big step his senior year. But I do think they can get a 5-star pass rusher this year. Potentially 2, but I think it's safer to say 1. Juan Manuel said, is there going to be a Thursday show? Yes, there will be a Thursday show.
Stay tuned. Put it in your calendars. Thursday, we're going to 9 o'clock again, Gio? We're going to go.
Yeah, around 9 o'clock, yeah.
9 o'clock's a good time. Everybody else is giving their information, and then we come up and back cleanup.
Jacoby Graggs already approved that rule. Lance Leggett, now that's a major throwback. Juan Manuel.
He said already approved that rule. Is that the rule? Is that the 9? Is he talking about the 9 games?
Yeah, I believe so. I wasn't sure about that.
That's an amazing thing. Absolutely. 9 games. So that's obviously player positive, but I mean, you don't have to limit these kids. That's great. And then they can make their decision.
Yep. Juan Manuel, who would name their son Buck? Dear lovers have gone too far. He was talking about Buck Ortega, but I think that was just his nickname. I don't think that was his first name. Trigger 1. I'm not understanding why people still don't trust Mario. He got us better every year. I agree.
I agree with you too. As long as he sticks with this and he doesn't go back to what he did at SMU, where he, just some of those things, the calls late in the game, it's but I think he has learned. I think Mario, somebody spoke to him, told him, listen, Mario, and I think it's going to be smoother sailing from now on.
Yeah. Let's see here. Who do you guys think will be the tight end with the most targets and most catches this year? I think it's still going to be Lofton, but I think it's going to be a shared situation there. If I had to predict the guy, I think Gavin Mueller is going to.
Somebody said on your instant reaction, I think it was Howard Stern, didn't he, that he was guaranteeing that Gavin Mueller would be getting the starts after week 6. Is that something I saw?
Oh, I can't even remember. So much happened today.
Gavin Miller. So we'll see. Hopefully, we got 2 guys battling it out, and everybody stays healthy in the tight end position.
Juan Manuel, that 9 game was put in not for freshmen, but for players who are quitting on the season after the first 4 games. Now it doesn't make any sense if you're going to transfer now to at least play and contribute. I agree. You're absolutely right about that one. But however, I do think there are still going to be some players that at some point they're just going to say, I'm out, I'm done, or whatever. I'm just going to sit. I think some players are still going to do that.
I wonder how good, if there was somebody keeping stats, like a Bill James of college football, or somebody comes out and figures out something like, how do players play once they've quit on a team? Because a lot of times once a quitter, you're always a quitter, and you're always bouncing around from team to team to team. So if you have 9 games to play now, there will be people, you're right, after 4 or 5 games, say, I'm not going to do it anymore. I don't want to be part of this team. But I wonder how that is going to look in their future and how they're going to play. I'd be interested if somebody was following those players around.
Yeah, well, there's definitely been quite a few players in the portal within the last 4 or 5 years. There's one in particular, I think his name was TJ Finley, the quarterback. He had been to like 6 or 7 different schools, just insane stuff. At that point, it's like, why are you even doing that? It's for another example, Brett. There was a kid, a linebacker last year, state of Florida. His name was Isaiah Williams. The kid had been committed to like 6 different programs. Like,
wow,
people take you unserious at that point when you
do exactly. No doubt. There's been some success. We had the player of Miami a few years ago that played on our Elite 8 team. I don't know if the Final Four team. The kid looked like he was 12. I forgot his name on the basketball team.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah, it was
great guy, but I think he was at 5 different schools.
Yes, I forget his name. Charlie, was it Charlie? Charlie something.
It was Charlie something. Somebody will want to crack shot. But yeah, but he did. But he was on our team, so it was okay, and he did play amazing. Was a big reason why we got to where we did. But I think football is a little different than basketball, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Howard Stern said, that's true, Gia. I remember when I went to Green Tree and Kellen Winslow and everybody else was always 80% of the time with the wide receivers coach. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is the thing that has driven me crazy about people with the tight ends coach saying, but he didn't even coach tight ends before. The tight ends, at least for a lot of like the receiving concepts, they are working with the offensive coordinator and the receivers coach.
Interesting.
People got to stop it. It's just discourse being put out there that just does not make any sense.
People always looking to stir things up.
Shaboy Kane. Howard's been tripping. Let Mario do his thing. Howard wanted Pat Surtain. What has he done besides be a great player? MJ is the GOAT, but was a sorry owner. He just wants a big name coach. Well, to Michael Jordan's defense, have you seen what he's been doing in the racing scene?
I mean, I don't know how much is that as Michael Jordan. I mean, he's won 4 races this year. He won the first 3 ever, but he's I mean, how much is that as Jordan? But you know what? Jordan is a motivator. Obviously, he takes it seriously. Guys, he can impress them. Obviously, he never did it with Charlotte in basketball. He was the owner of Charlotte, correct? But who knows? With the racing team, he is doing phenomenal. That's an impressive stat. But I think he's more of the motivator.
Yeah. Howard Stern said, I definitely wanted Pat Surtain. He would have been Jason Taylor 2.0. Yeah, I like Pat Surtain too, but
there was a reason why he didn't come there. That's for sure. Because Surtain went to, obviously he went right after Rump, but we've got Rump, and Rump was the coach there, right, at Heritage, and then Surtain went there right after, correct? So we had the line going. So for whatever reason, I would have loved Surtain.
Let's see here. Hassan shared, Gio and Brett, have you guys ever thought about traveling shows? If you have, Toledo, Ohio is a good place to start. Have it at the famous Tony Pacos. Sign a bun, then go to the Mud Hens game opening day, April 7th.
I think that would be fantastic. Holy Toledo.
Let's see. Howard's one man. Hey, Howard Stern, you're late. Were you on Cuban time too, like Gio and Brett? What to make of Cantwell left tackle and this kid JJ Dunnigan buzz? It's starting to get nauseous. Even Poyser says he's the fastest. Yeah, Zachariah Poyser shared that today too, that he thinks JJ Dunnigan might be the fastest player on the team.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's debatable because Vandrevius Jacobs and Vance Spafford, they could really get downfield in a hurry, but we'll see. Hassan, I got the tickets for you guys and hot dogs on me.
You got the hot dogs. If they have the mustard, like the Goldens and maybe some sauerkraut, we're in.
Yeah. Ronnie on the sticks. He asked this earlier. Thank you for stopping by the way, Ronnie. He said thoughts on Barcade today. I had mentioned them earlier. I think just looking at the timing here, I'm pretty sure that overlapped when you had asked that earlier. Howard Stern, JJ Dunnigan making lots of noise. Let's see how he does when the pads are on, but I'm excited for him. I agree. Pads is the biggest thing. You got to see how it looks like when the pads are on. Juan Manuel, I like female volleyball players in shorts. You can learn a lot of how healthy their legs. How come Mario didn't address number 87 with deportation readily available? Let's see. Howard Stern, one, Bauman needs to be deported immediately. Did you hear about his bench press worse in combine history? Yeah, he didn't have the best showing at Pro Day, but it is what it is. People got to move on. We're on to the next season now. Shaboy Kane, South Carolina. South Carolina offered the offensive tackle big NIL. Yes, that was the team.
South Carolina that offered him the kid from.
They were trying to get him to avoid visiting Miami, but he had told them that he wants to visit Miami.
Yeah, because that's the place offensive linemen want to go, to South Carolina over Miami. With our three coaches.
So we got an Indiana fan stopping by. O2 Gaming 367. Know who's your daddy material. That's Indiana.
Is that the team that refused to go to the? Is that the team that the basketball school that refused to go to the NIT? Indiana, great season. We're not going to take anything away from that amazing season. But the one thing I noticed about Indiana fans on X, you guys are like, you won. You won. It's like you don't have to go ahead and tell us. Everybody knows you were an amazing team. Fernando Mendoza, the coach, great season. Congratulations. And may not happen again, but congratulations. You won, and you should be very happy about it.
Miami will be back. Let's see. Howard Stern. The SMU loss was honestly the best thing that could happen to Mario. They got him out of his old ways. I agree.
Totally.
Juan Manuel said, "Is Josh Moore JoJo traded to?"
No way.
It's not a mental thing. JoJo always had a ton of talent, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And I hope he succeeds. Where'd he go, JoJo?
He went to NC State. So far, so good.
They don't play us this year.
That what happened?
Did they play us this year, NC State?
I gotta check the schedule again. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. So, all right. Well,
Brandon Brock 79. Do you guys think attendance at games will now increase significantly or no? Thank you for stopping by, Brandon. It depends on what you mean by the term significantly. I do think possibly a little boost early on in the season, just coming off a run like that. There'll be a rush of people like with FOMO, like fear of missing out about like watching Miami as a program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not draw it. We didn't draw well in the Orange Bowl when we played the Rutgers, the Temples, and those teams, and we were champions for multiple years. We didn't share. I mean, it wasn't until like 2000 that we started drawing for everybody, and I don't know. I hope so. It's. I mean, I always say it's 7 or 8 games. We talk about it all year long, and then people don't show up, and it's the cheapest ticket in the world for 9 games. Might as well go and support the players. And if nothing else, we haven't, people think they talk on X or they talk on wherever, Facebook, people, Instagram, they think like, oh, they can make a difference. The real difference you can make is going to the games, having the players see you and realize, hey, I want to play in front of these guys. And you never know, that one extra voice can make a difference. When we get loud, and in a game that we've sold out, it's very difficult in that stadium for the offense to hear. So we're at a big advantage. And you can say we lost the national championship game. Well, we only had 50% of the crowd at best.
King,
so when we are the team, the home team, and we sell out, it's very difficult for the other team.
King Kel 425. Gio, how did it go today? That is Kellen Wiley's father. Went really well today. Your son looked good out there too, by the way. He's got him big. He's more defined in terms of muscle and mass now. I hope he puts it all together on the field this spring, because if he can match the athleticism with the concepts and the preparation, I do think he could be a nice, pleasant surprise this year. I know they're really trying to push him to get into that rotation this season. Hoplite said, LOL. Hassan said, Brett, you're too modest. You and Gio are number one in my book. Mondo will be higher if he stops liking the Lakers.
Well, thank you, Hassan. We always appreciate your kind words, and it is our goal. And yes, Mondo, we can't hold it against him. He likes the Lakers, but he's still a good guy.
Howard Stern, 9379. I have respect for Florida State. I hate Florida, but unfortunately, Florida State is not going to get through this. They have no money. They're in a shitty area. It's over for them. Money talk. I agree, but I mentioned that earlier today that, just talking about that with some people, I don't think they'll be down forever. I just don't think the end, like the light at the end of the tunnel, is anywhere close for them right now. Atlanta Falcons Fandemic or 3XP. I'm a huge Kane fan. You just got one more subscriber. Go Canes.
Thank you, Atlanta Falcons. Or 3XB.
It's a brand new channel. Thank you for subscribing.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
King Kel 425. I'm sure you guys have spoke about position depth on offense and defense, but my bold prediction, we will see Torre and Wiley starting at linebacker this year. Yeah. Look, I just want to see that competition be fierce. I want to see the bar raised for linebacker at Miami. I think that standard hasn't been met yet in terms of like the history behind that position at Miami since Mario's arrived. I know Corey Heatherman's one of his biggest specialties is the linebacker position. So I hope so. I hope so. I have really high hopes for your son. I
hope they both star and we become LBU again.
From like a just size and stature standpoint, Brett, his son is like 6'4", 240 pounds and can run and jump out the gym. Wow. If it all comes together this spring, like I think people forget this too. Marquise Lightfoot wasn't a big contributor his first year and made that jump the very next spring, which was right before last season. I look at some guys like that, like a Kellen Wiley or like a Josh Moore that, there were some flashes, but they could take it to the next level this year.
No, it's, it doesn't happen right away for everybody. I mean, it's a learning. The game is faster than high school, just like the NFL is faster than college. Yeah. A lot to learn, and like we say, all it takes is one great year for a player to get to where he wants to be. But you love to see improvement. Yep.
Juan Manuel Ventura, an FSU visiting prospect, when asked about practice today at Florida State, he said it was mediocre. Kids, they don't lie. I heard about that. That was actually kind of fun. Yeah. They're not drawing a great crowd in Tallahassee right now. Howard Stern, the odds of Florida State coming back is the odds of Aaron Judge becoming a clutch hitter in clutch moments. It's over for them. One minute. Have you guys seen FSU schedule in 26? If they go 8-5, he may deserve a second look. And Kellen Wiley's father said FSU will not go 8-5. Canes Jones, Brett, Mario doesn't call plays. Yep, very true.
Yes, I know he doesn't call plays, but the plays he could. Okay, I'm not going to go there. But the Georgia Tech, the SMU, he calls timeouts, and that was my biggest concern on that game was the timeout that was called. But you're right. But I am 100% on board with Mario right now. He changed, he did what he had to do, and you know what? All I want to do is win. But you're right, Canes Jones.
Let's see here. Howard Stern. I said Wingo will be the starter after the week. King Kelly.
Oh, Wingo, he said. I apologize. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He did
Juan Manuel. Malachi Tony needs to not be on the field every offensive snap. Upshaw and Spafford can give him some rest, especially versus FAMU, Central Florida. Yeah, you give some snaps to some of the younger guys.
I would like to see those guys. Hey, if we're up by 50, these guys can. He doesn't have to be on the field at all in the second half. Doesn't help his stats, but hopefully he'll pad the stats in the first half.
Yeah. King Kel said, I'll check Gavin Miller out at the spring game. Yeah, I was impressed with him today. He wears number 87. Juan Manuel, yes, your opinion on watching Gavin Miller and Cole McConaughey today. So, yes, Cole McConaughey switched to tight end this offseason. He's got a new number as well. He's no longer wearing 44. He's wearing 89. I didn't notice too much from Cole McConaughey today. Jackson Carver is actually practicing again. I forgot to mention that. He's got like a light brace on or whatever, but it is encouraging to see him practicing again. Just my opinion on Mueller, though, very impressive. Canes Jones, agents signing bonuses, not thinking about the kid. Agreed. Moneybag 8, thank you for stopping by. How's the new weight room and IPF going? So it is on track for the date that they have shared. Went to a private event during the playoffs, a bunch of higher-ups that were there and guys within the development staff at Miami. And for the most part, they expect it to be done before fall camp opens. So will be a nice welcomed addition and change. There's definitely a lot of construction. Even when practice was going on, like when we were in there, you could hear all the construction going on outside. So they're hard at work right now. Juan Manuel said, how did Charles Brantley get an extra year and back at Michigan State? Yeah, Bell couldn't get an extra year. Well, Bell had to apply for the waiver, and then initially that was the plan that he was going to come back, and then it kind of changed as Miami went deeper and deeper into the playoffs. So just the plans kind of changed there. Juan Manuel, keep your kids away from Michelle Jordan. Howard Stern, I like all the South Florida recruiting. We're even hitting Key West now. Time to hit North Florida. I agree. The Orlando areas, Tampa, and everything. I agree. Eddie Delva, any news on Hayes, the linebacker that got into the off-field situation? I haven't heard anything specifically about it or whatever, but he's not currently on the team, and I don't really want to talk about the situation much anymore. It's really sad. Howard Stern shared, Gio, is it true that Mario finally listened to me and hired Venezuelans and Colombian women to be the recruiting hosts for all the players from now on? I can't confirm or deny that one. Manny shared here, what about Bobby Pruitt at linebacker? Thank you for stopping by, Manny. Hunk Dizzle on X. He's one of my group chats that I'm in. I didn't really see too much of Cam Pruitt today. The only thing I saw is that, yes, he's gotten bigger, like in the upper half. From what I understand, he's like within that 220s range now in hopes of playing more as outside linebacker. Last year, he was more like some pseudo like nickel, a little bit of safety here and there, everything. But I have heard that the expectation is more exclusively at linebacker now. He can cover, though, from what I've seen in the past. He's great cover ability. And I think he's got really good instincts as well, and more pop than people give him credit for as a tackler. So we'll see this spring. D Briz from X, thank you for stopping by, D Briz. He said, did you see Logan Nagel at all? Yes, I did. I saw Logan Nagel. He's wearing number 42. I believe it's number 42, actually. Hold on, wait.
Great number.
I have the roster right here, which is private, but they'll be posting it on the site. I can't share this with people yet. But, yeah, Logan Nagel is wearing 42. Saw him today. He's very big, actually, for a true freshman. I would say he's about like 6'5"-ish or so. 280-something pounds.
How many pounds?
280-something pounds, around that range. But yeah, but the only thing though, I'll be honest with you, D-Briz, like I mentioned earlier, couldn't see as much with the defensive line today. Saw more things like QBs, O-line, running back stuff, receivers, DBs, a little bit of linebacker, but defensive line was much further down the field. They were closer towards the weight room side of the IPF. Howard Stern said, "Is it true that Wesley ran a 4.75 at the pro day? That's not good." No, he ran faster than that. Wesley ran, I believe it was like a 4.58 or something like that, or 4.56 from what I heard. Hoplite, he said, that would be shocking. Extremely slow for a linebacker. Guessing it's not true, or was it on a single sprint, not repeat? Yeah, no, it's not true. I heard the numbers. Howard Stern, that's what I heard. Let's see what Gio says. Hassan shared. Gio, Caden Henderson finished visiting all the SEC schools with no commitment, so I believe we have a great shot with him. Yes, like I shared before, when it comes to Caden Henderson, I felt that those crystal balls that rolled in for Texas A&M a month ago were very premature. He wasn't anywhere close to making a decision. Came to visit Miami. Then you hear all the buzz now surrounding Miami. I still think there's a ways to go in that recruitment. It's going to stretch well into the summer, but I do like where Miami's positioned. I'm not ready to place a pick or anything, but they'll have a great shot at landing him. Hoplite 326. West ran a 4.63. That's from the Orlando Sentinel. Scott ran a 4.33. Well, yeah, some of the times are like all over the place in terms of the combine. It's just from different places and whatnot. There's nothing like too official. But I had heard that Wesley, he ran on one of his runs. It was like a 4.58 or 4.56, somewhere around there. Juan Manuel said Elijah Lofton was at practice today. We didn't think he would be there. Yeah, no, he's there. He actually did pretty well. Jose Gonzalez, you're going to be the last comment of the night. Thank you for stopping by as well. A lot of new faces or returning faces from the old channel coming back tonight. Jose Gonzalez shared here, I'm predicting a rematch of last year's title game, but this time Miami blows Indiana out.
I will take it, Jose Gonzalez. Remember Jose Gonzalez, if that is the case, if we beat Indiana in a rematch, he gets a $250 gift card.
I don't think Indiana
beat Indiana in a championship game. He gets a $250 gift card. Mark that down. Somebody keep notice of that.
Okay.
You like it?
I like it. But my hot take, though, I don't think Indiana goes back to the national championship. I don't think their quarterback play is going to be as good as it was under Mendoza. That's just my opinion. Considering
it was the Heisman Trophy and the number one pick he's going to be, it'll be very difficult to be as good as him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that said, thank you for everyone stopping by. I looked at the different streams and everything. Over 1,000 people stopped by late night. We absolutely appreciate it. People stopping by for a late night show. Make sure, again, subscribe to the new channel, www.youtube.com/CanesWear. Make sure to shop online at CanesWear.com or at the store if you're local, right here in Broward County, Dade County, wherever you're at, in Davie, Florida, at 2655 South University Drive. Brett, any closing?
CanesWear Publishing. I'm sorry, you were going to say, Brett. The CanesWear Publishing. So download the app. Click on news. You can see all the latest articles. Gio will have some breaking news stories there as well. So keep an eye on that for your reading pleasure. You can check that out online or on the app. Just click news and you get it. So that's really a cool new feature as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Gio.
Yeah, no problem at all. Kellen Wiley's father said, Brett, we need some Wiley Jr. shirts.
Absolutely. If you want to reach out to me, send a message, or if sure thing, we'd like to go ahead and be in the Wiley Jr. business. So let me know what you're thinking and design and everything. We can definitely put something together. So Brett, Miami's most famous fan, aside from Danny Boy Kane, who good friend of Danny Boy Kane, by the way, is a really good guy. Juan Manuel shared here. He said, was Abella Danger at practice today scouting players for her treehouse? No. I can confirm she was not at practice today. All righty, everyone. So we're going to get up out of here. Thank you, everyone, for the support. We'll be back again Thursday evening. Practice resumes again Thursday morning. I'll have an instant reaction sometime after 12. You know,
I make my way back home, have some lunch and everything, whatever. So it'll be sometime after 12, and continue to expect more content. There's going to be the writing content like Brett shared, at CanesWear Publishing. You can find it on the website, CanesWear. Hit the 3 tabs at the top left where it says news. You can find articles there. There's going to be a lot more content coming. We're ramping things up as we have launched these things. So thank you, everyone, for the support. We absolutely appreciate it. And most of all, go Canes.
Go Canes.